Hey guys, this is Joe. In this video, I'm going to test past Major League Baseball player game logs to find trends for to bet the hitting props on whether the player will get a hit or not. First, let's look at the data, and this is the full years of almost a full year of data for baseball players. I get this at bigdataball.com. The link will be down below. And before I get too far in the course, why don't you check out my video course at spreadsheetsschooldfs.com or my lineup optimizers or simulation spreadsheets at optimizelineups.com. You can get a 10% off by using the code YouTube for either of them. So check them out. So let's get back to the video now. And what we want to do first we want to clean this up, be able to use this data. So first thing we want to do is we want to sort the data. And if you can see, we got the player name here, the teams, and we got all their stats on the right here. I want to sort it by the player's name first. Doesn't matter, ascending, descending. I'll just do descending. Then we want to sort by the date, from newest to oldest. So I'm going to click OK, and it's going to do a sort. And now we got all our players here. So now what we want to do, we want to test this spreadsheet to see if we can find trends for if a player will get a hit or not. So first thing we're going to go up to data and filter. We're going to put a filter on this data. And if you look at this column here, this is BO, that's for batting order. We only want to look at players that are in the batting order. So we're going to get that. And we want to get rid of pitchers if there are pitchers in here. Okay, we're going to get rid of pitchers. I don't want to look at the pitcher stats. Okay, so we have 42,426 total records. So let's go to our summary, and in total there's 42,426. That's how many total game logs there are of players who batted and who were starting in the batting lineup and weren't pitchers. Now let's see how many hits. So now we do a filter on hits, and we got anywhere from 0 to 6. Let's get rid of the 0, so let's see how many actually got hits. 26,232 got hits. So we got 26,232, and now we're going to just do a quick formula, equals hits divided by at bats. 62% of the time a player will get a hit in a game. So most of the betting odds probably around minus 150 or so. Some of the better players obviously will hit better than that. But now let's kind of narrow this down a little bit. Let's get a little more in detail. If we scroll over to the right, let's look at here. This is the cumulative batting average. So it goes all the way down to from 0.53, probably all the way up to 1,000, because it'd be from the first game or so on. So now let's look at, say, number filters greater than 0.3. So if they're batting 300. See, greater than or equal to 300. Click OK. And we got 4,147. So let's plop this on our summary sheet here. 4,147, and this is greater than 300, just so we can remember. And this is just all, and actually this should be at bats. Or actually this would be games. So 4,147. Now let's see how many of those actually got a hit. Oh, actually, I never got rid of the 0, so that's how many actually got hits. Let's see how many at bats there were. There's 5,282. So let's go back to our summary. Let's move this down. 5,282 total at bats. Now when we copy our percentage over, we get 79%. So 79% of the time, almost 80%, 4 out of 5 times, a player is going to get a hit if their batting average is over 300. So odds are, the Vegas odds are going to be pretty high. You're going to probably pay minus 250, minus 300 or so. But this is a good way to kind of narrow this down. But let's look at something now. Let's look at the under 200. So we got under 200 batting average, and so let's change this. Now we look at the data. We've got all the hits, zeros through however many. And now let's change this filter to less than 200. So there's 4,914 games. 4,914 games. Let's see how many times players got a hit in there. So let's get rid of the zeros. And we got 1,876 times. So we got 1,876. This looks like a pretty low percentage here. 38% of the time. So that's pretty low. If you can get even money to get under 0.5 hits, at 38% of the time they're going to get a hit. It's pretty good odds right there. And that's actually one of them that I've been playing quite a bit. I just want to finish up though with players, and this is kind of as a whole, but let's see how the players do individually. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all our player pool. Let's get rid of the pitchers. We don't want them in here. So now I'm going to copy this. Let's copy this to a new tab here. Now we're going to go up to Data, Remove Duplicates, and this is going to give us all just the individuals. So we went from 49,000. We probably go down to about 2,000. Or no, 600. There's 600. So there's 600 players. Now we're just going to do a few stats here. So this is how many games they played. So we're going to do count ifs. So count ifs will count based on criteria, but it has to be a couple criteria. That's why we have the S in there. So we're going to go to the Data tab. And we want to check the names. So here's the range, and then what's the criteria? The criteria is the player's name. Next criteria is here's the batting order. We're going to click on batting order, and we want them to be in the batting order. So we want it to be quote, greater than quote, and 0. So that means the batting order number has to be 1 through 9. If it's a blank, it's not going to count it. So we do end the parentheses and press enter. So Zach Short, 59 games where he was in the batting order. If I double click on this, it's going to bring it all the way down, and it's going to show you all the players. Whoop, went too far down. Now how many games with hits? So let's do that. Equals count ifs. So we're going to kind of do the same thing. We're highlighting the player name, and then it's this cell. Next, we're going to highlight the batting order, comma, then quote, greater than quote, 0. And the last one is how many hits. So then we click on the hits, is the criteria, and what's the criteria range, and now what's the criteria? Quote, greater than quote, and 0. So that means he had at least one hit in the game. Press enter. So it's 25 times he had at least one hit. So we double click this down, and now percentage of games with a hit. So we're just going to do the formula. This cell C2 divided by cell B2. Let's change this to look like a formula, and it's 42%. There, now we got all the percentages. Let's do some filtering in here. So data filter. We want at least some reasonable numbers. So let's say someone who's played at least 25 games. And so we're down to 455 records. So it's pretty good. And now let's look at, so we go all the way down from 29%, that's the lowest, all the way up to 82%. So let's look at the lowest people. So less than, say, 38%, which was our low average for players betting under 200. Here. So now we've got these guys, pretty much 1 out of 3 games, they're going to get a hit. If you can get 50-50 odds on these players, I mean, you got a pretty good chance that you're going to make money on this. Now let's look at the opposite way. Greater than, say, 72%. And that's quite a bit. Look, we even got some guys at 80%. 80% of the games they're getting hits. 82% right there. 75%. So for something that's going to happen 75% of the time, if you can get even like minus 150 odds, 170 odds, something like that, you win a lot of prop bets there. That's it for the video. I think we covered it quite a bit here. If you liked something like this, make a comment. I'll make more videos like this. Baseball's ending as I'm making this video now, which is in playoffs. So I'll look at NBA. I'll even get into some hockey and look at more baseball and so on. But put a comment if you like this. Subscribe to the channel, and hope to see you soon. Also, don't forget to check out the links below for my video course at spreadsheetsschooldfs.com. Use code YouTube for 10% off, or all my spreadsheet tools. You can get simulation tools or lineup building tools at optimizelineups.com. Great. Thanks, guys. Bye.